What's up everyone, it's Prometheus, and today I'm coming at you with the top 3 most common espresso machine misconceptions. And when I say misconceptions, I mean these are things that seem like an espresso machine would work this way, but it actually doesn't. So I'm going to go over these top 3 things that I've noticed in cafes and from home baristas, and they're common questions I get here on YouTube and on Instagram. So if you find this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It's in the bottom right hand corner, and let's get started. The first most common question I get is, when does my shot time begin? And that makes sense because you're not seeing espresso come out of your portafilter until maybe 5 or 10 seconds down the line. And people are thinking, okay, I'll start the timer when I start seeing espresso, and that's not the case. You want to make sure you're starting your timer and your extraction when you start the pump. As soon as water hits that dry coffee, you are starting your timer, the extraction has begun, and you want to make sure things are starting to roll at that point. If you start late, like when your espresso starts coming from your spouts or starts dripping from your bottomless portafilter, then you're already kind of behind the 8 ball, and that amount of time can really change your extraction. It's really going to throw off your time, especially if you have a recipe from a roaster and you're trying to match that recipe. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the difference in the time between the shot starting and the shot first dropping. And so I'm going to time them both. I'm going to time it on my phone and the scale, and we're going to see the discrepancy between the two. So I've started the shot and we're getting the first drop around 8 seconds, and I'm starting my timer on the phone, and we're going to see how much of a difference this makes. And as you know, if you're an espresso fan, a few seconds can make the difference between an over-extracted shot or a bitter or sour shot versus a shot that comes out just fine. So we're looking at a 22-second shot on the phone and a 31-second shot on the scale. So let's say the recipe is telling you want a 30-second shot. If we're counting from the first drop, then we're way off and we need to fine up our grind. And by that point, we're going to end up with a very long shot. It's going to be very astringent, it's going to be over-extracted, and it's going to be no good. So make sure you're timing your shot from the time you start the pump, just like if you're doing a pour over and you start the timer as soon as you begin the bloom. Another misconception is you need 9 bars to make espresso. And that's just flat out not true. Traditionally, espresso is brewed on 9 bars, and that does work really well, and it wouldn't be the most common pressure to use for espresso if it wasn't a great pressure to use. Personally at home, I've switched mine to 6 bars just to kind of experiment, but I've seen as low as 5 bars for pressure on espresso, and you know, it's a different flavor experience. It's all part of the experience of learning espresso and seeing what kind of different flavors you can pull out using different pressures. It's part of the fun, so don't nail yourself down to using one pressure. If you can change your pump pressure, drop it. See what happens. You might like it. Last but not least, using the water spout for drinks. Now, this one is very common. You'll see it all over the place. It seems like a perfect place to get hot water. That's exactly what it says it does in the manual. But in the end, this hot water should not be used to make tea, Americanos, or anything you're going to drink purely because it comes from the steam boiler. So the steam boiler is basically boiled over and over again, so that means it loses oxygen. And if it loses oxygen, it becomes very flat. The steam boiler also accumulates more minerals, so it can taste very minerally, and in some very extreme cases, it can taste metallic. If you're hard pressed for hot water, you can use your group, but remember this will drop your temperature of your boiler down quite a bit because it's not intended to pull that much water all at once. And that's it. Drop any questions you might have down in the comments below. Give the like button a little love. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Friday. Follow me on Instagram at Prometheus, my blog at prometheus.com, and as always, stay caffeinated, pony boy.